Hello, and welcome to the 2021 New York Jewish Film Festival. The festival is presented by the Jewish Museum and Film at Lincoln Center. I'm Aviva Weintraub from the Jewish Museum, and I'm director of the festival, and it's very exciting to have this opportunity to discuss the wonderful film Breaking Bread with the film's director, Beth Elise. Beth, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Aviva, for having me. I must say the New York Jewish Film Festival is the Sundance of Jewish film festivals, so I am extremely honored to be here. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. We love the film, and we know that our audience is going to respond to it. Can you start by telling us how you came to make the film? What drew you to the topic?
Well, I live in Los Angeles, and I was sitting in my car in traffic and on the radio came Dr. Nof Atamna-Ismaeel, and she had just won Israel's MasterChef, and she had this message of bringing Jews and Muslims together through food, and I was blown away by her. I had to race home, get on Facebook, reach out to her with a message, and boom, in 60 seconds or couple minutes, we were connected, and it goes from there. So the other thing about it was just the positive message and the food, a positive message emanating from a region where we never hear anything positive, and food. Wow, I became obsessed and possessed, and I had to make it, and that's the story.
And would you say that you're a foodie yourself?
I am a foodie. I have gone to El Bulli in Spain. I'm really motivated by food. My whole family cooks. And, it's sort of like the opening quote of Anthony Bourdain: food may not be the answer to world peace, but it's a start. Why is that? Because everybody eats. And everybody has, or most people have, grandparents who instilled some sort of dish memory for them. Lots of people cook. And when you put two people in a kitchen and they're saying, what do you put in this? And what do you put in that? Suddenly all the labels fall away, all the religious labels, all the political labels, and you're left with human beings. And you're able to see that this is a person, and that connection is not a bad thing. Maybe it doesn't solve world peace because that's a very complicated situation, but certainly it's not a bad thing. It adds to the world. So that's my feeling about it.
For me, the film is a series of wonderful conversations between people, between chefs, between eaters, and with the food itself. First, how did you find these wonderful people to interview and spend time in their kitchens?
I thank Dr. Nof for this because she created this wonderful festival, and I think the festival attracted these amazing characters. I was so limited with my amount of days and my crew, and I always laugh, I was my own assistant. So it's the universe that gave us this film and these characters, because you would meet them and they were amazing, and then they'd go in the film. I didn't have that many extra characters that I interviewed that didn't go in the film, because I would come across somebody, and first one was Shlomi, and he's the one who made me realize what the film would be. And then you met Ali, and they were mirror images of each other. How did that happen? And it just continued like that. And so I was so fortunate. This film has been an absolute gift to me. It's been a joy from every second of going there and making it and coming back and sculpting it and the response to it. So I'm grateful. And I do think that just the fact that these characters fell into my lap is amazing. Again, these are people that were all in the festival, so they were attracted to this message as well. And of course it's Israel, and they're all chefs. So I think that combination gives you something really entertaining and amazing to watch, but it's also very fortunate on my part. it could have gone a very different direction.
And how long did you work on the film, and what has the journey with the film been like since you completed it? Where has it been shown? Have the chefs seen it? Has Dr. Nof seen it?
Yes, well, we opened in Haifa Film Festival, basically right before COVID was Haifa and Jerusalem Jewish Film Festival. And all the chefs, a lot of them came to both. Nof was at both. Nof brought her mother into the Jerusalem one. And the response was incredible. And then we opened at the Napa Valley Film Festival, and we won the audience award for favorite culinary cinema film, which was such an honor to me. So clearly the film is resonating with culinary audiences as well, and people who love politics, people who want to know more about the region, and of course the Jewish audiences and some Muslim audiences, I hope. And so we've been playing many film festivals, many more to come, leading up to a theatrical release later in the year by Cohen Media Group, the owner of Landmark Theaters. And it's unbelievably, I'm so grateful. And they're taking it around the world. There's announcements coming up because they've already set it up that it will be released theatrically in some other countries. It's just been wild, I must say. And I'm just thankful for it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I'm just, for me, I was so attracted, as I mentioned, to be able to tell a positive message, because all we hear is negativity. And that's what started me out. Look at where we are now. So the fact that I can take something like this and share it and give some people, a good day instead of a bad day sometimes is beyond amazing for me.
You have somewhere in the film the saying, "Hummus has no borders." How does that saying operate or resonate for you?
I've been using it as a tagline, "Hummus has no borders." Dr. Nof Atamna-Ismaeel coined it basically, but it's the metaphor for the film. And, I used it a lot visually with the cards in between, where I would have a plate of hummus and a different topping each time. Hopefully some people picked up on that. You'd have a Greek salad, or you'd have bangers and mash. And the idea is, wow, sometimes you have to scratch your head. We're just all people, it's like the food. It's part of the Levantine area. There's not borders on it. I don't want to simplify the world. The world is the world. There are going to be borders, but it's a way to look at humanity and sort of sometimes let us connect with who we are and not get so bogged down with everything else,
You mentioned the city of Haifa earlier, and in the film it comes across relatively as somewhat utopic. And I wonder if you could talk about the specific nature or the feel of that city.
I absolutely fell in love with the city of Haifa. What I loved about it so much, beyond its physical beauty and beyond the fact that it's trapped in the 1990s, you can go there and nothing has changed, and people aren't on their smartphones, and people aren't watching television for the news. They're just living their lives. And I think that's what attracts people to there. But in addition, it represents coexistence. You really see Jews and Muslims together all over the place. It really took me by surprise. I did not expect to see that. And I really did see that. Sometimes I'd go into the restaurants and I'd leave, let's say, the release that needed to be signed. And I wouldn't be able to tell you if the restaurant manager was a Muslim or a Jew. That happened a lot. So it just blew me away. It's magical. I can't recommend it enough for people. It's crazy that people go to Israel and do not go to Haifa or do not go to Akko. These are gems. You will fall in love. You will ask yourself, you will want to move there. So it is a utopia in a sense. And, I've thought about living there. So amazing place.
And I guess the food there is pretty good, right?
Of course, the food is great. You see it in the film, and the food in Israel is great. So,
I mean, the food in the film is just so mouthwatering and so attractive. And to know that it's prepared with love is really, really special. What are some of your favorite dishes or favorite recipes that we see in the film?
I mean, what was such a gift to me, besides the fact that I could share Haifa with the world, is to be able to share some of these exotic dishes. I've found that chefs don't even know what a ta'ashimi around here, or sometimes even in Israel, don't know what a ta'ashimi is, or a manti, or kishik. How cool is that in a time when we know people know everything because of the internet, that here are some of these gems that are new to people. I'm trying to put together a companion book with the recipes so people will eventually be able to share those dishes and go watch the film and try to connect with each other. The main dish that I love is the metaphor for the film, which is Monty. And that's because it's so colorful. And Nof talks about when you live in a world where you can see both sides and you can be open to everything, your world is more colorful. So I just think that's so beautiful.
Oh, that's wonderful. I feel like there's a cooking school in the future here somewhere.
That's Nof's dream, would be to have a cooking school.
That would be so wonderful. I was very taken by the scenes in the film where the young chefs talk about recipes or just practices that have been handed down to them from a parent or a grandparent, an older relative. And, you know, particularly charming when they work together in the kitchen. Can you talk about some of those people that we met and those scenes?
I mean, that's what I thought was so incredible, that Shlomi had this restaurant that was handed down basically from his grandfather and based on these recipes that came from post-World War II Eastern Europe, that he was so connected to his grandfather through, you know, when he touches his smoker and he touches the meat, he sees his grandfather touch the meat. And then you mirror Ali, who's so connected with his kishik and how his mother has made this kishik that's been handed down by grandmother to grandmother to grandmother and has 20 steps to it. I only put in a couple in the film, but trust me, we would have taken up 90 minutes on the steps to make kishik, you know, starting with she cuts her own wheat and then she puts it in, right, and then she puts it in some, he said a diaper, I bet he meant cheesecloth or something, and drains it, but it continues till it eventually gets dried on a roof for 20 days. And I just love that. But again, here you had these two characters, one's Muslim, one's Jewish, but it's the same story, and they could connect through that story, and they just became people through those stories. And suddenly they're not enemies anymore. I mean, those two were not enemies, but you know, the bigger idea of it, how it connects them through food, is incredible to me.
And what was the feeling like in some of the kitchens? You know, we've seen some of these TV reality food shows where people are stressed out and, you know, it's very dramatic and tempers run high. What was it like?
Well, it's Israel. Tempers rise higher than you think there. But oh, sure. I mean, it was crazy. I'm sure sometimes they wished I wasn't there. But in general, it was just wonderful, incredible energy. And, you know, it was just an honor to be able to participate in what was going on.
That's great. I think that's it for my questions. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Again, just to thank you, to hope that if your audience liked the film, that they'll tell people, because it's going to be playing all over the country, first in festivals and then in theaters. And you can get a lot of this information on the website or the social media, which is always under Breaking Bread Movie. So if you go to Instagram, Breaking Bread Movie, or Facebook, Breaking Bread Movie, it's all there.
Right. And your website is also breakingbreadmovie.com.
Correct. Right? Yes. Yeah. So
Great.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Beth. Thanks for the film and thanks for discussing it with me. Take care.
Take care. Thank you.